You are watching KEXP live at home. My name is Larry Mizell Jr. I'm your host. I'm the host of the afternoon show. Joining me today, I'm happy to say we have Clipping in the building virtually. What's up, fellas?
What's up, Larry?
Hey, how's it going?
Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
You got a fantastic performance you guys filmed. You want to get into that?
Let's watch it. I've never seen it.
Let's do it. Clipping live on KEXP at home.
Good luck, guys. Death wasn't really the worst part. Time spent floating above is. Body done, that's when the hurt start. They call it passing, that's not it. They lying, fuck them altars and headstones. Who they think all them flowers for? Can't smell nothing, you just bones. They cry a little less every hour, so that must be real nice. Crossing the earth marks the end where everything began. Death scars looking like birthmarks. Take for granted they freestanding. Y'all should grab one right by the dream space. Make one scream until she pray. Make one run until he dead. Make one break until they leave the body hurt. See the body gone, so who body make up for all the wrongs done to bodies? They keep singing they song while your body rot. Well, fuck it, come on, they gotta pay. Chase the dreamer, fuck it up. Shake the dreamer, wake it up. And that will make the dreamer hate the dreamer. Cut it up. Break the dreamer, wake the demon, run it up. Then you can get into the head where they try to make sense of senses. Start they six, let them know the dead levitating just ahead. And they best not slip. Just because you bled out doesn't mean you ever left. And that's that shit. They be running scared and telling all your secrets. Don't that sound like snitch behavior? Zip it up. Rip the fear and simply savor. Lick it up. That tastes like wishes made by twisted prayers. Rip it up. Split the vision, lynch the savior. Get the guts, then you can grab one right by the dream space. Make one scream until she pray. Make one run until he dead. Make one break until they leave the body hurt. See the body gone, so who body make up for all the wrongs done to bodies? They keep singing they songs while your body rot. Well, fuck it, come on, they gotta. All the living sweat in the afterlife, but ain't nothing afterlife but the pain from the way you died is something reminiscent of hunger. But if you had a stomach, only satiated by making somebody run. See that? To the edge of the screen in the video. Hear that? Hissing way in the track, back of the track. Be that. You can live in the glitch in the digital. They fear that, they should fear that. They gon' fear that you are here forever. Fuck it up. Miss the moment, end is never gonna come. You stuck, so make the most, you make the omens. Leave the gun. Watch the mortals blow their brains out. That was fun. That's why you grab one right by the dream space. Make one scream until she pray. Make one run until he dead. Make one break until they leave the body hurt. See the body gone, so who body make up for all the wrongs done to bodies? They keep singing they songs while your body rot. Well, fuck it, come on, they gotta pay. You're very fancy. That's hard as fuck, y'all. I'm not gonna lie. That's very good. The hook gon' be what it is, the hands off. The retribution for what you took from the man. Got blood on the rust, God bless the red earth. The dead man walks the tongue bridge, a bridge, the tongue space, the boot, the concrete. That project undone, they juking. made you look, can't see it. Mob built, wall, streets bleed sweet, syrup, the bees love it. They coming on a swarm and they raining on your college ass disco. Get your collar turned up in your freshest attire. Get your bitch womb ready, cause this baby gon' be fire. It's not a dream, it's a memory. Memory glands heavy and the sky blacked out already. Stop screaming, the flames ain't shit to a demon. Say the name.
Candlesticks in the dark, visions of bodies being burned. Candles in the dark, visions of being burned. Candlesticks in the dark, visions of bodies burned. Candlesticks in the dark, visions of bodies being burned. Candlesticks in the dark, visions of bodies being burned. Candlesticks in the dark, visions of bodies being burned. Candlesticks in the dark.
Always be marching during this song.
Candlesticks in the dark.
The hook gon' be the last thing she remember. The fast lane in December, often drift when she drive. College girl looking for the love, read about it in a book, but she always kept the gloves on. So when the skin touch, shit, head rush, red blush, lipstick, she just crush a lot. And every pun pales in comparison, a joke to a jester. She inundated with dick, thick, and becoming conservative in her fucking and nervous that she would rush him, but murder wasn't disgusting. The further she learned to trust him, the merger of love and lust means she's serving it all up just cause he hold her when he would bust. Until 9 months later with a stomach full of devil, baby, she started to think it's time to pump the brakes, but that train left the station with a great migration. Bloody tracks left right by the drain. Say the name.
Candlesticks in the dark, visions of bodies being burned. Candlesticks in the dark, visions of bodies being burned.
Let's go.
Candlesticks in the dark, visions of bodies being burned. Candlesticks in the dark, visions of bodies being burned. Candlesticks in the dark, visions of bodies being burned. Candlesticks in the dark, visions of bodies being burned.
Can you say it again? Can you say it again? Can you look into the mirror and then say it again? Can you say it again? Can you say it again? Can you say the name? Say the name. The hook gon' be the coldest pimp slap. Coat rack for man's skin, let it air dry. Swiss cheese, the brother already half dead. Brain leaking out a hole in his forehead. Lobotomies like pills, get him for cheap. The party line, crack kills, they tryna see. This one more a hairline fracture. Leave the face painted a mask for the hereafter. After the smoke clears and the highs come down, and the halogen hallucinations don't make a sound. Just a bunch of scared junkies not making the call, and a Guernica and blood on the wall. Say the name. Look, I play an instrument too. Hood used to check phone when he pull up flexing. Now we check another hood before we start the engine. Came out the stash house, something didn't smell right. He on the ground trying to look up at the tailpipe. Mighty fall for a mighty man, had a manicure, now it's dirt and oil on his hands. Stay low as he scrambled to the car though. Glad it's just a short trip to the condo. No signal, head on a swivel, hand on the center console with the pistol. Tinted black, got the windows right. Always shoot the gap at the yellow light. Bag a little yellow pills for the nerves, but it make it even worse when the Xannies don't work. Any panic ears ringing when you call, he can't hear you. Every 7 seconds, eyes back up in the rear view. Something in this room didn't used to be. Gin bottle to the face, can't fool the G. Laughing at him, he ain't never scared though. But he checked the lock every time he walked by the door. Check the lock every time he walked by the door. Check the lock every time he walked by the door. He run the motherfucking city, yeah they know. But he check the lock every time he walk by the door. Never park right outside where he live. He don't want his ride outside his crib, cause they might roll by, recognize it, and then come inside at night ready to fire with guns like he ain't got none. Joke's on you when his Uzi weigh a ton. Hop out the car slow, always walk, never run. Find a crowded block, keep the hand locked on the trigger case they figure it's a fun day. Sunday, no he don't play. No day, one day, no he gon' pay. But they best hope he no make no mistake. He ain't gon' solve just cause he got Olay on his hands now, BBS gleaming. Staying off the phone, no one catching where he be at. Never trust another man walking by cheesing. Never catch him sleep, he won't let the bad dreams in. Something in this room didn't used to be. Gin bottle to the face, can't fool a G. Laughing at him, he ain't never scared though. But he checked the lock every time he walked by the door. Check the lock every time he walked by the door. Check the lock every time he walked by the door. He run the motherfucking city, yeah they know. But he checked the lock every time he walked by the door. Lights out, can't nobody see in. But he see the lights outside, they be creeping. He behind the blinds with the 4-5 peeking. Thought he heard the sirens, maybe he was tweaking. Now we got the Seagrams, bottle to the face, can't fool a G. Told his brother to be ready with the eulogy. They laughed about it, but he hoped he really did it. Walk clock ticking, getting louder by the minute. That secondhand shit got to go. He be on that new, everybody know. Gucci to they FUBU, they fucking with a pro. When it's money to the ceiling and it's Persian on the floor. Used to be shoes off, but it's never that. Since he found the metal shavings waiting by the welcome mat. Every day he stuck, keep the heater tucked. They got him sleeping in his chucks. Something in this room didn't used to be. Gin bottle to the face, can't fool the G. Laughing at him, he ain't never scared though. But he checked the lock every time he walked by the door. Check the lock every time he walked by the door. Check the lock every time he walked by the door. He run the motherfucking city, yeah they know. But he checked the lock every time he walked by the door. I hope both these cameras are working, cause I was very proud of that. My little camera trick. If not, down to the floor. It's so gone. 10 toes down, but nothing to stand on. Get a handle on yourself. Hands are clammy, hands are cold. Gotta hand it to the host. The music choice is perfect. And the lights are like the last light you liked on the horizon. And the life you liked is laughable, it's done and you're expiring. Why you say that? Wide awake and why would they laugh? Wow, the way the blinds will pay that. Tattoo stripes across the face that. Wait, how you looking at your face? When your face is on your face. This is something you should face. You should fuck this song slap though. All they face is facing wrong. Looking out, look out you lost. Can't you see they seeing backwards? Somebody turn this shit up. What do they know? All of the cataracts floating outside of their vision are inching in. What do they know? They are just dust, they are just birds, they are just dragons, they are just nerves. Out to the end, are they getting closer or are they spilling words of the shattered mirror? Picture clearer than yours. And it feel like get your ass down to the floor. You'll never know, you'll never know. You ain't so special when everything glows and it's so gone over you. It's so gone over you. You so gone, it's all gone and it's long overdue. You got nothing to prove. You are nothing, you know. All that you have to do is try to get your ass down to the floor. Pick up the pieces. Pick up the cues like a human. See what you need is. Fuck is you doing? Riding round euphoria with hammers out the window, whistle, crimping, crack a rainbow, make it rain dance for your people. Put a pound of joy up in a pill and crush it down to powder. Let it sit under your tongue and check back in about an hour. It's that love of love and loss, that loss of love and feeling. It's that bass jump from the window while you dancing on the ceiling. It's that geeked up, it's the sky is deeper than the pool you swim in. You inside the speaker, this your song. Sing that tightrope, walk that skin inside your teeth. Call that floss and bleeding diamonds fine. If you could only reach the ones up in the sky are shining. They so fly and they so far and you so small, and still you feel like you've been wishing on a star. Do you feel that? Did it feel like? Get your ass down to the floor. You'll never know, you'll never know. You ain't so special when everything glows, and it's so gone over you. It's so gone over you. You so gone, it's all gone, and it's long overdue. You got nothing to prove. You are nothing, you know. All that you have to do is try to get your ass down to the things you've seen since last you saw yourself would turn a man to dust. The things you wear in lieu of all the hells are just imagination, cuz your body is a vision of the self that wasn't was. Your body is a drug you love, you crush. Your body is a drug you love, you crush. Make the most of magic, map the math of it. Master mouthpiece and extract the past from it. Plummet, plum pit, fruit, stomach, some shit, loot, feedback, look, see that bloody sack you used to be that. The mind is a facade, a blind idiot god will ride to your demise, so fine, let it be gone. Get your ass down to the floor. You'll never know, you ain't so special when everything glows, and it's so gone over you. It's so gone over you. You so gone, it's all gone, and it's long overdue. You got nothing to prove. You are nothing, you know. All that you have to do is try to get your ass down to the floor. That was the thing. I'ma read this last one. Never done this song ever. But it's kind of like bedtime story, like, so I feel like my reading off of the screen is part of the theme of the song. That's my story. I'm sticking to it. If you're watching this at home, tuck yourself in. The song's called Dream. It's a little bedtime story. Lung full of pine tar kush walks the city. Escape of scrappy captains. Capes tucked in the aftermath of unassuming blueprints not suitable for bombing. Fires are alarming. Fire alarms are oddly calming. A water beetle jitterbugs and litter. Kitty cats across the sidewalk after rats are fat enough to die happy. The savvy climb the nailless pine staircase a la Jesus walks to where the meter blocks and streets aren't even matter, so they don't. No one pays no never mind. Higher than the ever-resting deities of better times. Here the sun refracts so much the prisons look like prisms. Rainbow chains ain't shit but long division. A vision of a suited black man peddling dream logic overlooks a park bench. Kids kaleidoscope into an arc and 2x2 are Loraxed off the block. The floods are warm and blood is just red-colored chicken stock. It was all a dream. Pictures in Murder Dog magazine. Ice smoking a masterpiece, rocking our wasted jeans. Grab the base off the table and bag it up for the fiends. It was all a dream. Tar Kush walks the ocean, waves like high hater. Builders looking shorty low at distance, skip like stones. The sharks are biters, but the teeth more kitten tongue than needle. And so the lung walks on with a wax on, wax off Miyagi focus. Fording of America, What's with all this conquering? Wouldn't it be nice to Beach Boy for your year or 6? Turn harmony to capital, trade the bricks for sand dollars. Dreams are made of comfort, struggle builds the nightmares. The existence of this voice implies he made it. And all from keeping it G in the face of a world leaning kumbaya. Ali Boombaye, got that oh my yeah. Chemotherapy, who said oh my god, how disrespectful. Don't they see the way he Poseidoned up to the top where it all breaks? And everyone that rides the wave falls off. It was all a dream. Pictures of Murder Dog magazine. Messy mark, blue chucks hanging where his chain should be. True ski mask and a bulletproof limousine. They don't know about Murder Dog magazine. It was all a dream. Lung full of pine tar kush walks the clouds. This is why the wheel wells be cut. LeSabre gotta reach for altitude. Much as they are used in slang, birds don't give a fuck, really. Drop as much shit as people talk. Rise above it, someone always says while marching. Easier said than done while flipping fries and golden arching. Just trying to be that double rainbow meme. Ice cream painted on the borders of these dreams. Shit, yeah, that's wet. Bet 5 on a dice game in the clouds. Put all your money out and make it rain. But godlike, that's what they must mean by going green. Noah's Ark this block and start anew. Damn, this kush is crazy, right? You can see your roof from here, but not much else. The world outside city limits is not yet cartographic. But everybody learned to fly the same. Tap and be enough to glide in one direction. It was all a dream. Pictures of Murder Dog magazine. AC Ella, kick the snake screaming at me. Dark room familiar, pulling guns on police. It was all a dream. It was all a dream. Just like a real show, guys. Miss playing shows with y'all. Pictures of Murder Dog magazine. Brother Lynch, back to back, calling MJG. Riding dirty, bumping at UGK. Let's get him. It was all a dream. I mean, I fucked up quite a bit, but I hope it's charming, because I ain't doing another one.
I'm joined now by the members of Clipping, David Diggs, Jonathan Snipes, and William Hudson. How you guys doing?
All right, man.
Pretty good.
Thank you for taking the time and joining me today.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Absolutely. You guys span so many genres musically and both literary. We'll touch on that in a second. But one thing I was really struck by is how you don't use that to separate yourself from the hip hop continuum. You know, you have guests and collaborators like Gangsta Boo, King T. You place yourself very much within the continuum of hip hop. Can you tell me about your thought process with that?
I mean, I think from jump we set out to make rap music, and I think like we maybe even used to have to be a little more heavy-handed with it because people seemed to disagree with us that that's what we were making. But so I think like particularly early on we were like, we're gonna feature all of these rappers. You know, we don't want there to be any confusion about the kind of music we were making. But you know, as it's gone on, I think as a genre, we're doing things that have been done before. This is what rap music does. It references, it samples, it pulls from all over the place, and so we are also doing that. I think sometimes we just, and so it's important to us to sort of bring in collaborators who are from that world as well as from all the other worlds that we work in. But I think we never wanted to alienate ourselves from rap music. That was, we never thought of ourselves as trying to fix or change anything about rap, which is something that a lot of people used to always attach to us.
Yeah.
We are just also making rap songs.
Yeah. I mean, that was, the first couple tours we did, people would talk to us after shows and be like, "Oh man, I really like you guys because I hate Lil Wayne." And we were like, we really like Lil Wayne. Like, you've completely misunderstood what we're doing here. If you think we do this because we hate Lil Wayne, then we have to like somehow course correct to explain that we do this because we love rap. And the thing you're talking about is so much of what is interesting to us and just the way we work, whether or not we even mean to or not, is to like make these sort of connections of like certain regional styles of hip hop. And like, let's say, oh, we could tell this type of a story in reference to that regional style of hip hop or that subgenre of hip hop. And then like, so putting these things together, like, is so much of just our practice.
Yeah. I mean, I do think there is like a little bit on our part, like a, we do try to like push the boundaries a little bit, but never in opposition, like never trying to break what is inherently rap music about it, but saying, here's something that rap music is already doing, and we're going to kind of focus on this and maybe explode it a little bit, or do it, like sort of draw attention to the fact that beats are made this way. And I also think like the way that we make music is like the only way that we can participate in rap music without being overly fraudulent also too, right? It's like we could just make sort of things that ape, contemporary or like radio rap music, but that wouldn't be honest to who we are and what our backgrounds are and what our training is and what our interests in like music and production and writing are. That would be the fraudulent version of what we're doing. But what we're actually doing is making things that are very honest to our own taste and ourselves as people, I think.
Right on. I really appreciate that measure of care and, respect that is in that positioning and that intention that you guys put into your stuff. Whereas so many groups have either allowed themselves to be kind of placed outside of that bubble in opposition to, or have very purposely kind of, via chosen collaborators or who they tour with, have positioned themselves kind of outside of that continuum to say, oh, but we're different. And I really appreciate you guys don't do that. And you recognize the vast diversity of the form. And you guys are like real scholars of a lot of genres too, whether we're talking about industrial music, concrete, or hip hop. I was reading a press release and it name checked Seagram, and I was like, okay, somebody's really from the Bay out here.
We're from the Bay.
Yeah.
Sieg.
I love to see it. How did you guys connect?
The three of us?
Yeah.
Oh man. I mean, well, we've all known each other for way too long, which is another reason that the project folds in on itself so much. But I think, Bill and I were best friends in third grade, and kind of ever since. And then Bill and Jonathan were roommates their freshman year of college, and I would usually get out earlier than they did, so I would like come sleep on their floor in LA a bunch. So we've known each other for a very, very long time, and have all sort of
nearly 20 years.
Yeah, and have all made music separately, and all have solo projects and worked in a bunch of different ways. And when I moved, they had started. Those two really started clipping as like a remix project, and then I moved to LA not shortly after that, and we started scheming on how to make original songs out of it with the same ideas.
Yeah, we had made like maybe 5 tracks where we just took acapellas from like like a Drake song and a Bun B song, and just made new beats for them as sort of proof of concept that this could work. And we played them for David, and he was like, "Yo, these should just have real like original raps on them. Let's just do this band."
Seeing as how you do span these genres, and again, even delving into literature, and David, with your acting background, have you guys thought about kind of that next level, making a clipping short or film?
Well, I mean, yes, we've sort of thought about it. I mean, I think the way something cool happened with the Deep, which is sort of like why why people have started to associate us with literature, I think, is because our names are on a book. But really, like, the way that project worked was this crazy game of telephone where This American Life asked us to write a song for their Afrofuturism episode. And we were like, all right, bet. We've been trying to do something referencing Drexciya for a long time. And so we decided this was a great opportunity to reference the mythology that was really kind of expanded across Drexciya album covers and liner notes and stuff, and use that to kind of make our take on that story while referencing their music. And then a friend of ours who worked for a publishing house, like, said, hey, I have an author who's really interested in like making this into a novella. It's Rivers Solomon. We were like, oh, hell yeah. Rivers is the truth. Sure, yeah. Do that. So, and our collaboration with Rivers was really just them sending us drafts and us being like, this is great. I don't, like, you're very good at writing things.
Yeah.
It's cool. But
I think the only note I ever gave on any one of those drafts was like, you could make it have less to do with our song if you want. Right. Just don't feel beholden to this.
And then there's been talk of like using that as IP for movie stuff. But like, anyway, what's one of the things that I think is interesting is that, and this is sort of how we make our videos too. Like we just choose an artist who we trust and respect, or they find us or whatever. And we're like, yeah, do your thing with this. That is like what we are doing is doing our thing with a bunch of other primary source material. So you should do your thing with this as primary source material, and it's probably going to be good because you're good at the thing that you do. And so I think, we all work in the film and television industry in varying degrees already as writers and actors and scoring things and all of that. And so like we're in contact with it a lot. So yeah, it does come up. I don't know that any of us is trying to direct something, but we are like constantly sort of, there are always ideas popping up that are like, well, this is a way that this would be interesting as a piece of content to be, for film or for television. And maybe there's somebody out there who really wants to make that.
Right on. And you mentioned The Deep. I was really struck by how you guys got nominated for a Hugo Award.
Three times.
It's thrice.
We've never won. We've lost the Hugos 3 times.
We are 3-time Hugo losers. Yeah, I mean, that was really... We were on tour for Splendor and Misery in like late 2016. And I had always had this fantasy that I would do something that would be nominated for a Hugo. So I just started tweeting. I was like, hey, look, technically our album is eligible for this weird category whose definition is written in a way that would, allow for an album to be nominated, except that it's really only ever been episodes of television that ever get nominated, because we'd be short form, dramatic presentation. But it's written in such a way that would allow, radio plays, even though it's almost always just like multiple episodes of Doctor Who and Game of Thrones nominated every time. So I just started begging on Twitter, almost as a bit. And somehow that worked. And, the sci-fi community is like so rad. They're like it was like so cool because, you know, I mean, nobody, you know, people get nominated for Hugos all the time. Like Marvel movies get nominated for Hugos, and none of those people show up to the Hugo Awards, right? You're not going to get, you know, I don't even know who made a Marvel movie. I can't even think off the top of my head who's
Millions of people.
Yeah, right. Like, but you're not going to get like the director of Avengers to show up at the Hugo Awards. But you know, no sci-fi author would ever miss the like they go to the Hugo Awards. George R.R. Martin is there every year. Like the big names show up. You know, N.K. Jemisin is there to get accepting her award. So the fact that we just like begged for it and then showed up, everyone was sort of very welcoming. And then we did a show at the Hugos in at Worldcon at the convention in Finland. And as a result, like we just met so many people that now we have like the tiniest little inn, so we can just keep begging for Hugo nominations. And we know we have enough friends in that world that they'll write us in every once in a while.
So cool.
If we do something that qualifies. These last two albums don't qualify at all.
Well, I hope you take home the rocket one of these days. I don't want to see you guys be like the Susan Lucci of the Hugos.
It would be pretty cool, except that like the party is for the losers. So like, I don't know. The party's
It's
kind
true.
of the best part.
Yeah, I mean, it's the best award in the world to lose, because after the awards, there's immediately a party called the Hugo Losers Party, where when you show up, if you lost, they say, when you get to the door, they say, did you lose a Hugo tonight? And you say yes, and they throw confetti on you and everyone cheers. Yeah. And if you won one, then you have to wear like Groucho glasses or a really stupid hat all night at the party, and everyone points and laughs at you. So the winners get made fun of and the losers are celebrated.
I love this so much. I'm really glad I asked you guys about this. Wow. I wanted to talk to you about horrorcore and how apt that genre is to the times we're living in right now. What kind of brought you guys to working in that vein thematically?
Well, we always knew we would, and we already kind of were. I mean, you know, I think almost any of our songs or records could be called horrorcore. But we made this one song that became Club Down sort of right after we had turned in the first record for Sub Pop, while we were working on the material that became then the Wriggle EP. We made Club Down as part of that sort of chunk of material. And we thought, oh, we should make a whole record that sounds like this. So let's save this one for our horror-themed record that we're going to make next. And then it took us 6 years to do it or something. But we always knew that was coming. And in fact, I mean, the horror material was supposed to predate the sci-fi material even. But things just have a way of taking more time than they should, or, you know.
We performed Club Down one time in
2015,
2015 at the Knockdown Center in Queens when it had first opened. And we played this whole set. And then at the time I was like jumping down into the audience to do Story because my knees were better then. And I like jumped down and I'm like going through and I was like, oh, the PA is not on out here. Like everyone, it had been a weird show. Like people weren't really like super into it. And then I'm down in the crowd and the PA had been off the whole time, but our stage mix was great.
Right. Yeah.
So we'd been on stage fucking killing it. And like in the audience, it sounded like the only thing coming through the PA was my vocal. So it sounded like a really weird, just spoken word show, like with almost
like distant. Like, the band in the next room was louder than our beat in that room.
So people in the crowd were clapping like this.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. The truth is they weren't clapping at all. They were just horrendous, and they did not understand
anyway. And
they didn't understand why we were so hype on stage because we were just killing it up there. Like our monitors were so loud, we felt like we were doing great, and everyone was just staring. And we had so many friends at that show because it was New York, and people were like, "That was all right, guys, cool." It was early enough in our career that like. A lot of our friends hadn't seen our band yet, and that was the first show they saw.
talked to a friend after who was like, sound mix was a little weird, and I was like, oh yeah, they didn't turn our beats on in the PA out, and he's like, yes, that's what it sounded like. That's exactly what it sounded like. Which is, if you're planning a concert, that's why you put the person who's mixing the band in front of the speakers so that they can hear what the audience is hearing. The mixer was backstage.
Behind us.
So and he mixed it well. It sounded great.
It sounded awesome for 4 people.
So it's good to know that you're getting treated like a hip hop group.
Yeah, for sure. But we've like come up with some. We like now when we tour, we mix almost the whole thing ourselves. Like Jonathan has made this very easy on every place that we play. It's just like.
Yeah. We just send. He submixes my stuff into. We send a stereo out to the house so that like there's nothing. There's no way to mess up.
The ratio of complexity on the stage side to simplicity on the front of house side is like pretty skewed, I think.
Nice.
Well, it used to be that like by the end, like our first couple of tours, by the end of the set, my entire set system would just be turned off. They would just slowly turn it down the whole time because they'd be like, "What are these horrible sounds coming out of that guy?"
Noise, like
it was just like every time it would like intentionally like I've got a microphone in a little like box full of nails that I'm just shaking around, and they'd just be like, "Oh God, turn that off." So for years, it was just like I would just hear myself get quieter and quieter, and by the encore, I'd be like, "I don't even want to go back on. My sounds aren't on."
Right. Amazing. So you guys were working on this horror themes material for a while, and it ended up becoming 2 albums. There existed an addiction to blood, and your newest, Visions of Bodies Being Burned, whose title, of course, evokes a classic Scarface line from Ghetto Boys' Minds Playing Tricks on Me. Another great callback to, the hip hop scholarship that you guys walk with. It just struck me, how apt horrorcore is to the times we're living in, the times of protest, the times of plague. Just horror is in the air.
Yeah, I mean, the thing about the sort of classic sort of horrorcore things, or like what I think of when I think about that stuff, is like there's one way to look at it where it feels a little cartoony, but there's another way to look at it where it's it is like sort of an inherently political thing in reference to its time, right? Like to take the idea that that music made by Black folks or made by poor people is inherently scary, and then be like, all right. Let's make it scary. If you're going to call this, if you're going to be afraid of this, you're going to slap parental advisory stickers on my shit, then all right, I'll make it an R-rated movie for you. Right. And I think that spirit of politics is always woven into even kind of the silliest examples of it, right? Because it is in a way in response to, and a lot of rap music works this way, is in response to an outside perception of a thing. I philosophize a lot about the hyphy movement because that was sort of my coming of age in the Bay Area, and like the idea of going dumb to me is so beautiful, because if you're gonna call me stupid for this long, like I will show you what stupid looks like.
Yeah.
And so like I all of that's kind of woven into the thing.
Right on. I really felt that with Say the Name, which of course is evoking Candyman. Which, can we talk about Candyman for a second? What a masterpiece. Right?
Yeah, I mean,
I just rewatched it and I was struck by how relevant it is and what a beautiful flick it is, just visually.
I mean, it's a high art film masquerading as horror. It is so striking and beautiful and elegant and smart. It's probably my favorite movie, I think.
Yeah, you have themes of gentrification, colonialism. You've got Candyman's backstory itself, which is cold as ice. And that title evokes, of course, Say Her Name. Mm-hmm. To me, that was the first thing I got from it. I was like, wow, this is loaded right here. Was that intentional?
It might have been intentional in terms of titling it that. That song was written. It's hard to remember when we wrote any of these things. So
I can check, but I think it's like 2016 or something stupid like that. It's like a really long time ago.
Well, and it's also the new Candyman reboot remake in the trailer uses "Say My Name," uses a spooky version of "Say My Name," and when that trailer came out, I was like, "Damn, that was our joke."
March 24, 2016 is when we started working on that song. So it's pretty old.
It's funny how things arrive at the right time.
Yeah, I mean that has a lot to do with, I think, the a lot of the press we've done, a lot of the interviews we've done for these new albums have been like, oh, the world is so horrible now. I see you responded to that by making up these horror albums, and we're like, well, we kind of started making these. I mean, the world's been a horrific place for a very long time. We're always responding to things like that. But
the whole time, yeah.
But it's like, it's not the same as, we didn't make these, we started these albums before Trump was president, before there was a global pandemic that kept us all indoors, before, we were already working in this direction before the nightmare situation got so much worse in this country and on this planet. That was just sort of our, I mean, we already had songs about cops killing black folks, 10 years ago. So, or
because that didn't just
8 years ago. That certainly didn't just start.
Yeah.
So we'd been, working in this direction. I mean, it's too bad that elements of the world caught up to us, and our album is not as sort of outrageously unrealistic as we maybe set out to make. But
I mean, I think it's also a product of us working as much as we do in what I term as like primary sources. It's like, if we want to tell a story, we almost never do it from the perspective of like a narrator who has an opinion about that story, right? We try to do it in sort of like practical sort of pieces, like even on our science fiction record, like the sounds are even sort of storytelling mechanisms, because we tried to make everything sort of sound as if it was like practical, concrete sound sort of in the world of that story, and that you were hearing this narrative not through a retelling of the narrative later, but in the actual events as they were happening to a certain degree. And I think we're pretty devoted to like making songs that try not to tell an audience too much what our opinion of that song is or what that song is really about, to just provide some sort of objects and some like sort of concrete kind of pillars by which an opinion can be formed and which connections can be made. And we all have sort of our own versions of what a song is about and what happens in a song and what happens in a narrative and what the themes are. But there's but those can be three different readings. And there's so much synchronicity when you work that way, right? Because instead of making something that's so narrow and so specific and so like almost manipulative of an audience, we've made something that is so open to interpretation, and there's so many sort of possible threads inside of it that inevitably synchronicities will occur that we didn't intend, and some that we did intend will go unnoticed forever,
and then we make Chapter 319, which literally just says, which is the that's a sort of uncharacteristic of us. It's not particularly obscure in any way. It just it says the words exactly how we think them.
Right.
But songs like that are exist for a time to do a specific thing, and then they kind of go away.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, there was we made that song to be played at the marches that were happening in response to George Floyd's death. Like that was the point of that song. We released it with the song we made for Michael Brown when he was murdered. Like, Knees on the Ground was another song for a particular moment. That like the sort of the idea of pairing those together was like, and also like see this last song we made too when this same thing happened.
Well, I mean, and that's a place where we made Knees on the Ground, but we made it about what we thought was a very specific, timely fashion, and that proved, unfortunately, not to be the case, right? That it proved to be as relevant and as about everything that's happened since then as it was at the time.
Right on. I really appreciate you guys' analysis and hearing about how you guys came to find this, terrible relevance, in your music with today's times. I'm curious. I'm sure your methods of collaboration have always been, it's probably somewhat complex, but got to be even more complicated by COVID and by your busy acting schedule, David. How is it working these days that you guys work together?
Yeah, it's mostly like we have like a checklist of things we're trying to finish, and these guys do as much work on them as possible without me, and then like yell at me until I do it. That seems to be the best way to actually finish something these days. But yeah, it's not ideal. I certainly like miss just the time to like all three of us sit in a room and like figure something out in real time. But I think we're also at a point now where we're pretty good at making the thing. Like we know how to make stuff that sounds like us, and so those conversations can happen across time and space. It's just less fun.
Yeah, it sucks. It's really not fun at all.
Yeah, it's not. But like, I think one of the things I love about this band is it's not really. I think it's not really a like he's the DJ, I'm the rapper kind of band. Like every phase of it is pretty collaborative, and even when we're working separately like this, like they'll make something and I can go in there and start writing something and be like, send back a version of it with like bars cut in different places, and then ask, oh, can we have a drop here because I want to highlight this thing, and then they'll look at the lyrics and say, oh yeah, does this actually like make sense to what we're trying to do? Or like Bill low-key always has like great line ideas that I end up putting in songs. Like Bill's for like, you should say this somewhere. I was like, oh, God damn it, that's good. I like find a place for it,
It's just that it's frustrating in separation too, because those conversations usually can happen kind of in a few minutes in real time, as opposed to days or sometimes weeks apart. It just like there's no momentum, and it just feels like this constant slog of like, wait, what was this thing we're working on? And like,
right.
What? Oh, we've totally forgotten about this thing, and it was due yesterday. And like, it's a kind of a management nightmare, honestly.
And as you can see from what's behind me and from what's behind Jonathan, we've made every one of our songs up until now in that room that Jonathan's in.
Yeah.
And now, as the other guy who makes beats, I'm just on Zoom in an empty room going, can you reach over that? No, turn that one, please. That one. That's what I would be doing if I was there.
We need to get you a Segway and a little robot arm.
Yeah.
Control and turn the knob.
Yeah, it's funny how COVID has kind of atomized everything and put us in these boxes, literally. Well, I'm really thankful that you guys find a way to collaborate and make the music that you do. What's next for Clipping?
I am probably behind on a bunch of things already. So
yeah, I don't know if there's anything we can talk about yet. Right?
Yeah.
The yelling is next.
Yeah. I mean, ideally we will do shows. Ideally we will do shows one day.
Yeah, that's.
I would really like to be able to do shows again, but that is, not up to us.
Yeah. Right on. Well, guys, thank you for joining us. I look forward to when we can have you in this room I'm in.
Oh yeah,
in the future.
We like that room a lot.
I love being in that room.
Yeah.
Well, soon come. Hopefully, we'll have you in here, and I'll get to talk to y'all face to face. Appreciate
Absolutely.
you. Thank you for taking the time today. and for that incredible performance as well.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, it's fun.
Right on. Okay. This is KEXP live at home. I've been talking to Clipping. Thank you, guys.
Discover new music at listener-powered KEXP.org.